in
Like
the green room.
we're in the green room still because we haven't done like, remember when we go to the episode, there's that other button that you push.
I know, but now, oh, and the screen's on. You got me all messed up. The screen just gave it all away.
Ah,
Uh,
spoiler alert.
I had a rhythm. I had a rhythm, and you interrupted the rhythm.
I did throw you quite the audible. Like, have you seen that? Like, have you you've been watching football because I know you're a USC Trojan fan. So um, we're not talking about their season. We're not talking about like the transfer portal or like that you're going to lose your quarterback because he's going to the NFL. He is amazing though. But you know that there's that commercial that pops up for the deaf athletes, that they've got this technology, because like all the a lot of the quarterbacks and the mic on the defense, the usually the linebacker,
Oh, yeah.
they have sound in their
Helmet.
helmet for like a part of the play clock, and then it shuts off. And so if you're deaf, you don't get the advantage of having that 15 seconds of the coach in your ear telling you like, hey, watch the left, watch the right, switch to this, all that kind of business. So there's a commercial where they've come up with the technology, I mean, that we all have had, but they basically have put it in the helmets so that there's like just a little small plex piece that they project um, text
Really? You
to
mean like a Google Lens thing that they
kind
have?
of a Google Lens thing, but way better. And so, yeah, I saw it in a commercial and I was like, well, yeah, that's, that's so like important. And yet,
ADA.
yeah, I'm like, why didn't they think to 2023 for us, to even consider that, that would be
How
a good,
many? Well, I don't have cable, so I get, I have I have all the apps. I was
yes.
just joking with a friend or family over the holiday weekend about how I might as well just it might as well, it was my students. We might as well just call it cable and you just aggregate all these apps together, and then you're paying for a package of television because there's so many of them now. But I don't pay for all of them because that's crazy time. But um, yeah, so I don't get the same commercials. I don't think
Mm.
than the game, right? They'll literally repeat the same like three commercials every commercial break. Like if it's ESPN or something like that. So I don't see the variety of whatever, but that's kind of cool. I
I'm
think,
not on cable anymore. So like I've,
but the terrestrial, NFL's on terrestrial
mm,
TV, isn't
is it
like
though? Is it?
ABC, CBS.
Yeah, but you can watch that on like Hulu. So
I can watch that on my pay for Hulu.
yeah, you pay for Hulu Live. Yep, you
I can
can
watch
you can
sports.
watch sports.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that I
I
mean,
didn't.
because
I didn't.
that was my big thing like about cutting the cord for so long is I'm a
Right.
news junkie, right? I'm a news junkie and I'm a sports junkie. I love lots of sports. I like watching live sports, and it's a way that I connect with both my daughter as well as my dad. And so, I love live sports, but so like I couldn't cut that until I had sort of my own assurance that I could get most of the stuff that I needed. Yes. So the commercials are weird. Like I know what you're saying about them repeating the three or four same commercials. Like that is a little strange. Um, my folks are still on cable, so when I go visit them, it's like it's back to like
Hmm. It's
2010.
weird. It is weird to see when if I go to someone else's house or the the market tap or you know local bar and they play a commercial. I'm like, oh, the hell is that?
Yeah.
You get kind of anyway. Yeah, this is the sports podcast.
Like
Oh,
Snoop with
hockey
a
podcast.
stove. I mean, it's like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
see,
like, what the hell are you talking about?
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. Well, but the other thing too is you also do not consume the amount of social media that I try and do for the benefit of the podcast.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm watching. I think I'm like called a lurker or something.
yeah,
Like a
yeah.
creeper,
No, not a creeper. You don't have a van. If you had a van, you'd be a creeper.
interloper. Yeah, I don't have a van, so well.
I tried to convince a friend of mine recently who doesn't listen to the podcast, so it doesn't matter. But if he did listen to the podcast, he would know exactly what I'm talking about. But he was explaining to me that he's getting to the point in his life where he's like, now I'm trying to think what I'm going to do next. And yeah, lurks, yeah, and he's not. It's not about lurking. Is what he's going to do next. He's not going to lurk. That's not the punchline here. But he's like, you know what? I think I need hobbies. And I'm like, dude, just get a hobby. Like, just do something. And like now, don't have to wait to do it.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that discussion. But
You
then,
don't plan hobbies.
no, you
Yeah,
don't plan hobbies, right? And but then
they grow.
as he's explaining this to me, and I'm just listening, and um, you know, and I'm playing with his son, who's like, making the plastic, food meal for me and stuff. It's awesome. So we're having our discussion, and then I'm talking to his dad and listening to, his hobbies that he may or may not want to have in the future. And then he says, you know what? I think part of this is I also need a van. I'm like, what? And yes, your reaction right there is exactly the one I had for him when he said that, when he sprung that on me.
And what is the potential hobby that requires a van?
Apparently fishing.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I didn't
I
know
like
fishing
fishing.
required a van.
I don't think so.
Um, Also, having a small child who wants to eventually play sports apparently requires a van.
Oh, he
I've
just
had,
wants a van.
I've had, yeah, I think so. I was like, I've had a small child who played a lot of sports like her whole life. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
Wow. I,
so
oh, that was good.
yep,
Just like the last episode that went out, which was 100% outtakes. Not even outtakes. It was 100% impromptu, just good fun.
green room shenanigan.
Shenanigans. That's right. So well, you made an audible about wanting to do a very quick conversation, and then another one that was the initial plan, which was going to be a little bit longer. So at this stage, then, should we screen share and talk about the short
Yeah,
chat?
I think we're ready for episode 137.
So
Um,
does that mean that you want me to like turn that off and like
I think it's time to
hit the
cue
intro?
the intro.
Oh, and then I have to like, okay, I see what you're saying. All right, so roll the intro. You remember Bush's baked beans? Roll that beautiful bean footage.
They still run that commercial.
Oh, it's the best. It's one of the best. Does the dog still talk?
The dog's
Oh,
still there. Yeah.
that's great. Okay, well, here we go. Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Welcome to the show.
This is the show, yes. And
Episode 137. I thought it was going to be 136 tonight, but I realized Kurt slipped in a special 136 episode, so everybody can go back in time and listen to a very creative green room outtake, which I think we might have also done again tonight. So there might be an extra 138 episode of some real classic.
Uh, I mean, it's not very long though.
It's not very
I mean,
long.
it'll wind up being a little short. Well,
It could
like
be a shorty. Yeah.
shorts,
Hmm.
like YouTube shorts,
Okay.
clips.
Yeah, I don't
The
I don't need to see you in short shorts. So.
short. Yeah, I don't need me either.
I, I I love you, but that's not gonna. That's that. No,
Yeah, it's yeah, too cold for that. We'll
and it's
just
cold.
leave it.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah.
It's too cold. Um, so I mean, as a short episode, then I guess we can briefly talk about coffee,
Yes.
and then briefly talk about this sketches. But so what do you got going in the Neil mug?
Well, I opened up another bag of the good stuff. I went back to the Coffee Sketch podcast. Like I have another one. I have another one going out in the mail
Oh,
to someone in California.
oh,
Um, um, Not that she drinks coffee, but her husband does.
oh!
So
I
yeah,
got a note. I gotta write a note.
yeah.
Little
Note
note.
to self. That's getting checked off the to do list. Yes.
And also, uh, we'll leave it alone. Well, we won't name names, but
Yeah.
while not a coffee drinker, a mug user. So a mug will
Plug
be,
user. Yes. Yes. And
that's my job. The
and I will
shipping
say
of
also,
the merch.
yeah, and I will also say, quite the AIA president elect.
Oh yeah. Well, we're not naming names though,
Not naming names. No.
but I mean we're happy and excited for that.
Yes.
And the
So what do you have in your mug?
well, I think I had some before. So I finished the bag of sketch coffee. I should put up the I swear I have a link for that, you
Well,
know.
and like
Here.
Rootless was doing some deals for Cyber Monday and stuff.
Yeah. They were like guess how many coffee pods can fit in this giant cardboard box. I don't
So
know.
you do follow along. You do follow all their stuff.
I'm
Okay.
a lurker. I'm a
You're a
social
lurker in
media
it.
lurker. Well,
Yep.
they're close to home. The so I finished our a bag of that, and we order this food from Misfits Marketplace or Misfits whatever, I don't know what it's called, Misfits something, and it's well just Misfits Market, I guess. Anyway, so it's like the ugly fruits and veggies, but they also will deliver coffee, which I think they have a partnership with Intelligentsia out of Chicago. Which so I don't really know if it means that like the beans are ugly or if like it's just
Or they got dropped on the floor, or
mix match. I don't know. It's pretty good. And I
it's
forget the tasting notes. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
pretty good.
that's an excited. My voice goes up an octave or two when I like a good deal.
Yeah. No, why I do know you like a good deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost free, but so there's that. So I'm working through that.
You like bruised bananas, beat up peaches, like miscolored apples,
Cracked cucumber.
strange tasting notes for my coffee. Count me
It's
in.
it's a good one. It's a chocolatey, medium roast of something. So,
No, that's good. I
and
mean,
Intelligentsia, it's a pretty good
no, I mean
notable
yeah,
brand.
that is pretty good. Yep, I agree.
So that's my story. And, I I did kinda I have a few bags, in the basement of Coffee Sketch Coffee, and every time I walk past, I start, after going for bag number 2, now I'm, like, looking for bag number 3.
Right.
So
Well, and personally, for those who are
you know,
only listening to the podcast and not here with us live, I appreciate so much that Kurt is like, I'm like right there with you, because you're using your hands and your eyes and your head motion to describe like your own sense of space. You're like downstairs in the basement, and you've got the whole motion to it that, yeah, it's it's a lost art.
well, it does remind me as I flip on these sketches. It reminds me of when we first started this podcast and did everything 100% audio with no video, and some might argue some of our best work
It was
for
pretty good.
how many episodes? Like 80 episodes we did, I think, without video. 60 or 80. So I can't remember now.
A lot. More than
Let's
half.
say, yeah. So, yeah. So but yeah, now we have visual cues that help. It's like a crutch. So, given that we just passed November 22nd, right? Jamie did something, we kind of circle back to some JFK sketches pretty regular, I guess, almost on an annual basis, I suppose. Now, I'm trying to remember, on the left is the memorial by Philip Johnson, right?
Correct.
And then the right is JFK himself. But I remember we did talk about the JFK memorial before that Philip Johnson designed. Was that last year?
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago already
2 years already. I know.
that we
Crazy.
talked about that particular sketch?
Yeah, well, and that's the sketch from 2 years ago. What?
Oh no,
Crazy.
I thought there was a detail.
No.
Oh, we were looking at photos. Oh
we
man,
were,
that
we
was
were
2
looking at
years ago.
photos because we were really kind of digging into like all the assembly and the potential assembly of this thing,
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
it really truly is an interesting piece by Johnson, and it's relatively close to Dealey Plaza, but it's not immediately at the site. They are they are separated by about 2.5-3 blocks, but it's and it's a pretty monumental piece, and really it's it's visible as you're seeing it here in the sketch from the street or the sidewalk. This is sort of that vantage point. Um, but then it occupies quite a lot of space on the city block, as a cenotaph, as an empty tomb. And when you get inside it, there is sort of a plinth kind of in the center, that it's a different material and darker. And oftentimes when you go in there, you'll find roses laid or flowers laid on the surface of it, notes, just kind of things that you would kind of associate with a memorial that you can kind of pass by on the street, kind of very impromptu. But when you get inside this sort of empty tomb, it doesn't have a roof on it. The sound of the street really gets completely obscured. And so you really feel like as you go through this kind of slippage, or the slipping space between these two kind of heavy forms, and you get inside, it really, the sound, all your senses, everything really change. Your vantage point changes, and really kind of you focus on where you are and that you're in this space. And so it was just, there's a stillness about the sketch, which I really like. and there's a stillness about the monument itself.
Well, as what I'm reminded of, well, your description and the structure of this thing is sort of precast nature, this very concrete planks and things like that, and the care in the dimension of all the panels. But then I recently was explaining to my students a project, actually the Perot, no, was it Perot? Yeah, Perot Museum,
Mhm.
the Morphosis building. And
Which is about a 10-minute walk from this site.
yeah, and then I explained to the students, it's like, there's actually quite a bit of great architecture in Dallas that, like, I haven't been to, I've only flown through the airport, so I haven't been to Dallas long enough to visit some of these things. And I said, there's like a bucket list of good architecture all over Dallas within, walking distance. OMA and Rex, whichever branch of the office you want to talk about. Norman Foster, right? um, this Johnson bill. I mean, plenty, and then the Morphosis project and all kinds.
Legaretta has a museum, in also within Allied Works. Variety of different, very very notable firms, all kind of at the height of some of their really really great work. And then you have, multiple IMP buildings,
Mhm.
and and then you have the Nasher Sculpture Garden, by Renzo Piano. The DMA is the Dallas Museum of Art has a really great collection to begin with as a museum. Start there. The building was really starting to get tired, and really needed a refresh, and an expansion and sort of a reprogramming of it. So they just went through a very competitive international architecture search, and
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the name of the firm, but it was also a very public display. Dallas is sort of known for that, in the last 20 years or so, at least, with some of these works that we're talking about in architects, is that there's a real consciousness about the local architects and patrons of art and architecture to try and include the public in that process, or at least let them engage with, if multiple architects are vying for a particular commission, making sure that they all come and do a lecture, come and do some interaction with the public, so the public really gets, as much bang for their buck, so to speak, with the particular project, even if that architect isn't necessarily selected. Some of the projects you just were naming, Jean Nouvel, was vying for one of those projects. Daniel Liebskin was vying for one of those projects. I mean, there's a variety of different other firms. I don't think Zaha,
Well, and Michael Malt, the D, was it DMCA or the DMA, the Dallas Museum of Art, right? I think that's the recent shortlist that included Michael Maltson.
Yeah, and they didn't get it.
Did they select a winner? Actually,
yeah, they did select a winner. It was a firm out of Spain, that I'm not necessarily familiar with, but I really really liked their presentation, and very intriguing.
Are they online now? The presentations?
Yes, we can save that for a new episode. That would be great.
Yeah, that would actually, the short list would be fun to talk about. And isn't there Morphosis has more? Is the Crow Museum, is that also in Dallas, or am I thinking of another city? They're building something right now that I thought was in Dallas, but I could be wrong. I'll have to circle back on that. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of interesting, and I mean, yeah, it's like a greatest hits, almost like a downtown full of superstar architect projects.
Well, and
high profile cultural projects too.
Well, yeah, and what I've always liked about it is that, even though amidst all these sort of high profile architecture firms, kind of parking really good work in Dallas, it is really good work. Most of it is really, really remarkable good. It's some of their good stuff in their portfolio. And I think that part of that is the patronage, for, whatever that's worth. Dallas, there is a lot of money. And so I think the patronage and not necessarily sophistication, but I think the attention to what Dallas needs in some of these kind of cultural icons I think there's a strong ethic to that. But at the same time, too, the city itself has some really, really interesting urban transformation strategies kind of going on. And I think some of that, relates to this history we're seeing on the screen right here. Is November 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas is, one of the, if not one of the biggest turning points in American history. It is a it's a for whatever your political persuasion, it is one of those turning points. And I think that for the city of Dallas, it was also incredibly shameful moment that I think really changed the public perception of itself as a city. And I think a lot of things sort of shifted, whether completely intentional or not, from that point. And you can start to see it in the architecture. You can see it in the urban planning. There's a Frank Lloyd Wright's, one of Frank Lloyd Wright's last buildings is in Dallas.
Oh.
Really?
What's it called?
It's the Kalita Humphreys Theater.
Oh, wow.
That Diller Scofidio was working on a master plan and a preservation rehabilitation strategy for. So, and is currently working on still. They're trying to fundraise and kind of get some of the funding for. But so there's some, and that building itself is tied to this urban strategy I'm talking about, where the parks in Dallas, the green space, and the relationship of the river to the city, and how it divided communities, initially geographically and also with some intentionality, of course, is then seen in succeeding decades as an opportunity to start to stitch these things back together. Some more successfully than others, but in the last 10, 15 years, that level of consciousness to some of that has really started to play into how architects are selected, which projects are getting funded, which ones are moving forward. And so I think it's, for a Texas city to be thinking that way about landmark buildings as well as sort of the urban fabric is really pretty unique.
Yeah. Again, all you're doing right now is making me more jealous and want to visit Dallas sooner. Just the buildup of all that and and the cultural assets and things like that. So I'm sure someday soon there'll be a good excuse to go to Dallas. Good enough excuse beyond this to tip me over to the big D, as they say, right?
But the second sketch, to kind of come full circle to your original question, second sketch was done on the 22nd of this year. So one I've never done before. I don't do a whole lot of like famous people portraits. That's just not sort of my thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But this particular presidential portrait, even when Jackie O, kind of commissioned this work, even then it was controversial, and because it was so different than traditional presidential portraits.
Right.
And it was all kind of unveiled, obviously after his death and whatnot. But it's there's a stoicism about it. There's a reflection. Um, there's a heaviness to it. Both I think emotionally, but also just when you think about his very short presidency, as well as what that presidency was potentially leading us to, in terms of kind of vision, both, as a country and sort of the struggles, but also sort of the aspirations. And so I always loved that portrait. And if you go on a White House tour, it's so prominently displayed in the White House, even though some of the portraits do move around. But it's it's a beautiful painting, and so I was happy to try and do my best to sketch it in pencil.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I could see clearly. I mean, I recognize the positioning and the posture, the pose, and yeah, it's really nicely done. A lot of nice uh, hatching technique and rendering. So was this how long? I mean, we kind of talk about it from time to time, but how long did this one take?
25 minutes,
Oh, a little longer.
a little longer.
You think it's because you don't do the portraits as much?
Portraits and pressure, yeah, like a lot more pauses. Because I mean, a lot of for those who've seen me sketch, and you've seen me sketch when I do my fast stuff, the pen or the pencil rarely comes off the page.
Right. Yeah. You don't. Once you start, it's not really.
Yeah, it's
until you're done.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll talk when I'm drawing, but I don't pause. Don't think about it. This one I gave myself some moments of reflection.
Oh, it's really nice. Nicely done. It's fun to not skip over this for the memorial, I guess, sort of the date, since we just passed the date, wrapped right around the holiday of Thanksgiving. So it's been kind of a quick week, I suppose, in the sense of holidays. But yeah, so yeah, even though you intended for us to talk about it briefly, but we couldn't. We had to do it enough justice to talk about both sketches and the idea of Dallas. So I think, yeah, thanks for pushing me to go in that direction, and we'll post that, and then I guess I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, and add it to your travel itinerary.
Oh yeah. To the list. It's on the list. Thanks. So we're back in the green room.
Yeah, this is the green room, and this is the after episode green room, like
It's
group hug, pep talk.
It's the behind the scenes
Yeah, this is the game ball. This is like we give you the game ball.
game ball. Oh, I think the game ball goes to Jamie. How many game balls we should do? Should maybe start a tally of game ball. So the for those that are wondering, oh, why does it take so long to get to the credits? But in the audio, I can, we use a different clip. It'll shorten all that dead space. Jamie was sitting there panicking, sweating. What's going on? Where's the outro? Where's the outro?
It sometimes happens. It's okay. This is how the sausage gets made.
That's right. People need to know, you know, it's not perfect every time, and nor should it be.
Yeah.
So, this is the reset. I'm surprised Danielle's not home yet. For those that are wondering,
How's Ellie doing?
she's doing really well. She's acts like nothing ever happened to her neck, which is obviously not true. She's right over there. Oh, wrong. Right there.
Yep.
In the chair. So now she's allowed on furniture pretty much again.
Basically back to real life.
Oh man, I had the nice angle. I had the parallel lines and everything.
Oh yeah.
And now I got to reset it. She yeah, pretty much. Which is kind of a relief because I haven't sat in my couch in what's it? September, October, most of November. So like 2.5 months. I haven't actually sat in my couch. We bought these beanbag chairs to sit on the ground with the dog, and then blocked off all the furniture. So now we had some neighbors over the holiday weekend, and actually sat in human-sized furniture.
Good.
So
Yep.
So yeah,
Important.
she's doing better. Thanks.
Important to stop camping in the house. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, man, can put you in a grouchy mood. And I don't have to pick her up anymore. Actually, she doesn't want to be picked up anymore.
She's like, Dad, I'm done.
She jumps in and out of bed without assistance. So I'm hoping that we can, the injury that I don't know. I'm sure we've talked about it in the green room quite a few times, but chalk it up to that terrible veterinarian who wrenched her neck trying to give her an X-ray while we were saying that she had some issue in her neck, and she came home worse than when we brought her there, that's the worst part. So, because we then went to better vets who then said, well, this could be forever. And I was like really hoping not to, because she's only 5 years old. So, I mean, that's like
Yeah.
5 to 8 more years at least. But so, yeah, thanks. Yeah, she pretend she's acting like nothing's ever happened. She might have lost a pound or two.
Right.
On the bright side. So, yeah. So how about Tinkerbell?
She's okay. Yeah, she's
same
hanging
old
in there.
strength.
Yeah, same old kind of, old lady vibe. Sometimes puppy. Yeah.
Tinkerbell needs to show up on Instagram more often.
Yes.
Photogenic.
Yeah, she's pretty photogenic. She does
not in sketch form. In
she
photograph
does
form.
she does like the little like opportunities for what's funny is she likes the photo. She does not want like the cat in the photo. Like there's something about
Jealousy.
she's like, no, this is my moment. Like
that's funny.
Like she doesn't mind other humans, family and stuff, friends, totally fine.
Oh, dogs.
Acquaintances. I mean, random people, be totally fine. It's that damn cat. So, but they love each other. It's okay.
That's good. It's good. It's good. What do you call that? The reality check?
Yes.
So
we going for 138 here?
Oh yeah, right. Of course. 138. I can keep going, man. We go to 250. Let's go 250.
It's like The
Right.
Price is Right. Like you pick a number, and then you
Yeah.
listen to all the other people, and then you pick one more than that.
That would only then be 139.
Right. Magic number.
Without going over. What happens if you go over? Is there an over in podcasting? Probably. There's probably a
Oh,
point at which people are
yeah.
like, no more.
Yeah.
You should not do anymore. So, thankfully, nobody said that to us.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that comment yet, so that's okay. We're just, we are listening, sort of, but yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, the radio has not, or the airwaves have not spoken. Anywho, well, we can probably jump into it. We'll talk about Creek Show. I think I did. Is it? It says 138 now, does it? You see it? Mine says 138.
Do I have to refresh my screen?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you want to do that because it says it. It says it.
Okay.
Although, well, the thing is, we're already live though. This is the thing. We would have to like unlive, and then because you know what I mean. The stream is the live stream.
Is the stream?
Yep. Do
Is
you
this?
want to? Do you want to?
um,
You want to you want to separate the
I think we probably want to
streams?
separate. Yeah, I think we want to separate the streams. This is
Oh,
like like you don't cross the streams.
blow it up. Blow
Do
up
you
the
know that?
streams.
Do you
Yeah,
know?
right. Well, yeah, the
You know that?
Ghostbusters. Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
you don't
Thank you.
cross the
Come on.
streams.
Whew.
What happens if you cross the streams? You don't cross the streams. All right. Well, then I have to hit this button.
Yeah. So for those people who are hanging out with us,